Look closely at the chessboard of your daily existence, your workplace, your social circle, even the quiet dynamics of your own family. There is always one individual who effortlessly secures whatever they desire without ever raising their voice, begging for validation, or appearing to exert any effort at all. They do not merely survive, they conquer. And here is the unsettling truth. They are rarely the most brilliant mind in the environment. They are not necessarily the most uniquely gifted, nor do they rely on the exhausting grind of working themselves to the bone. Instead, they possess a darker, highly refined clarity. They understand the hidden architecture of human behavior. Meanwhile, virtuous individuals get systematically exploited. This does not happen because they lack intellect, capability, or raw strength. It happens because they carry a fatal flaw, an invisible, dangerous psychological assumption. They falsely assume that the rest of the world operates by their personal moral code. They believe that acting with fairness guarantees fair treatment. They believe honesty is naturally reciprocated. They believe that extending unearned trust creates a protective shield of mutual respect. In low-stakes, superficial scenarios, that naive blueprint works well enough. But the exact moment something of genuine value is on the table, a coveted promotion, a highly competitive position, or absolute control over a narrative, that moral assumption becomes the most expensive liability you possess. Because while you are busy prioritizing fairness, a calculated adversary is busy prioritizing strategy. While you are waiting for the universe to balance itself out, someone else is ensuring the scales permanently tip in their favor. While you are granting them the benefit of the doubt, they are calculating precisely how far your hesitation will allow them to advance. This is not a modern crisis. Half a millennium ago, an unyielding political strategist named Machiavelli survived the most vicious, cutthroat landscape in European history: Renaissance Italy. It was a world where strategic alliances dissolved overnight, where loyalty was merely a theatrical performance, and where the person raising a glass to your health across the dinner table was frequently the architect planning your execution before dawn. Machiavelli did not endure that treacherous environment by relying on helpless virtue. He dominated it by weaponizing absolute, unblinking awareness. When he documented his findings, he did not write a textbook on how to become cartoonishly evil. That is the lazy, superficial interpretation propagated by individuals who are terrified of facing objective reality. Machiavelli provided an uncompromising guide to the world, as it actually is. He laid bare the mechanics of how power moves, how authentic influence crystallizes, and how human beings genuinely operate when valuable prizes are up for grabs and no one is watching the shadows. Over the next few minutes, you're going to discover 7 psychological laws that Machiavelli understood perfectly, lessons that the masses unfortunately learn far too late. After the devastating betrayal, after the financial loss, and after years of wondering why their pure intentions yielded nothing but ruin. These are not comforting motivational quotes. They are sharp, clinical, and intentionally designed to strip away your illusions. They will completely alter how you evaluate every single room you step into from this day forward. If your mind is ready to shatter the illusion, drop this affirmation in the comments section right now. I see the game. Let us dissect the laws of the sovereign mind. 1. Virtue without awareness is exposure in highly competitive or hostile environments. The primary targets for exploitation are never the visibly weak or the incompetent. They are the consistently good, the predictable, and the reflexively fair. Your unyielding moral consistency is precisely what makes you a defenseless target. When you approach the world with genuine goodness, you carry an invisible suitcase of expectations. You expect truthfulness. You expect agreements to be honored. You expect that treating others with dignity forces them to eventually return the favor. Adversaries do not view those expectations as admirable traits. They view them as tactical openings. The moment an opportunistic operator realizes that you rely on harmony, that you instinctively hesitate before enforcing a boundary, or that you will aggressively avoid a confrontation, they have mapped your entire perimeter. They do not need to possess superior intelligence or greater strength than you. They only need to understand your psychological boundaries better than you understand their hidden motives. Machiavelli observed this behavioral loop across every level of statecraft. Predatory players never launch a direct attack against your fortified strongholds. They exploit your predictable patterns. They quietly observe who pauses awkwardly before defending themselves. They study who panics and rushes to speak when a silence stretches out too long. They evaluate who steps forward to smooth things over the moment social tension begins to simmer. They watch, they document, and then they execute their strategy. Their movements are completely imperceptible, executed in microscopic, calculated increments that feel entirely harmless in isolation. A slight delay in delivering a critical asset here, a subtly warped version of the truth there, a quiet, masterful reallocation of blame that no one notices until the damage has completely crystallized. Every single step is deliberately calibrated to ensure that if you confront it, you will look hypersensitive. If you react, you look entirely paranoid. If you voice your concerns, you are labeled as dramatic. So, the good person chooses restraint. They swallow their intuition, adjust their stance, and extend even more unearned benefit of the doubt. And the adversary registers your compliance. Your polite patience wasn't seen as nobility. It was logged as explicit permission to take more. Machiavelli understood that in a competitive arena, morality completely detached from strategic perception is not virtue, it is absolute vulnerability. When a manipulator can mathematically predict exactly how long you will tolerate disrespect before speaking up, or precisely how many times you will forgive an infraction before drawing a line, they no longer have to guess your moves. They can literally schedule your exploitation. The remedy is not to become a cruel, hyper-paranoid monster who trusts absolutely no one. The blueprint is far more elegant and silent, become entirely unreadable. Stop presenting the complete psychological blueprint of your character to individuals who have not earned the sovereign right to hold it. You owe no visibility of your internal limits to people who are actively measuring them. You owe no predictability to operators who profit from your consistency. The moment you cease to be a legible book, the entire dynamic of the room shifts. Not because you became hostile, but because you became an unknown variable. And an unknown variable is impossible to manipulate. Drop this statement below. I move with awareness. 2. Weakness by design is refined power. This principle challenges every superficial instinct of the ego, yet it remains one of the most lethal tools in the Machiavellian arsenal. Machiavelli recognized a massive structural inherent in the flagrant display of raw, visible dominance. It instantly triggers defensive alarms. The second you enter an environment projecting absolute competence, superior knowledge, and hypervigilance, the room immediately closes its gates. People tighten their psychological armor. They guard their angles. They filter their language. They reveal absolutely nothing that wasn't thoroughly pre-planned. However, when an individual completely underestimates your capabilities, their entire psychological defense mechanism collapses. That deliberate, calculated unpredictability in what you choose to surface makes you an impossible target, without a stable, predictable image of your character to plan against. your opponent's strategy degenerates into pure, erratic guesswork. And guesswork in the arena of power is a terminal diagnosis. 3. Reckless explanations erode authority. Modern society conditions us to believe that constant explanation is the foundation of healthy alignment. We are told that over-explaining our motives builds bridges, that transparency fosters deep trust, and that providing a detailed autopsy of our reasoning forces others to respect our choices. In rare, high-trust microenvironments, this format functions well. But Machiavelli identified the dark underbelly of this habit. Every single time you explain yourself, you are participating in an unfavorable transaction. The exact moment you begin aggressively justifying your choices, defending your boundaries, or guiding someone through your mental process step by step, your status shifts. You are no longer an independent agent executing a directive. You are a subordinate begging for validation. You are pleading with the listener to agree that your logic was sound, that your emotions were justified, and that you are officially permitted to proceed with your own life. Your most powerful moves on the chessboard of life will always be the ones where you let your results do the talking, leaving the room to adapt to the reality you just created. Write this down. I don't explain myself to everyone. 4. Controlling the context beats direct attack. This exposes the hidden mechanics behind those incredibly frustrating moments where you did everything perfectly. You maintained absolute professionalism, kept your composure, followed every rule to the letter, and yet you still walked away looking like the problem in the eyes of the collective. You weren't defeated in a fair fight. You were silently positioned. Niccolo Machiavelli recognized that direct, overt attacks are incredibly primitive and inefficient. They are loud. They are obvious. They naturally generate immediate sympathy for the victim while heavily exposing the attacker to reputational damage. True masters of psychological influence completely bypass direct conflict. Instead, they engineer the surrounding context. They curate the timing. They select the specific audience. They drop minuscule fragments of carefully framed information in front of the right decision makers at the absolute peak of their emotional vulnerability. Then they step back into the shadows and let human psychology execute the destruction for them. Refuse to feed it. Maintain your position. Dissect the design, and when you finally choose to strike, move structurally. Do not fight the argument. Change the environment entirely. Comment below, I choose position. 5. The illusion of unilateral fairness. Machiavelli was never an opponent of fairness or justice. He was simply realistic about when those concepts protect you and when they destroy you. When both parties share an authentic, verified commitment to honor an equal standard, mutual fairness is spectacular. It drastically reduces friction, accelerates deep trust, and yields compounding returns that neither side could dream of securing in isolation. But the precise moment one side quietly deserts that standard, while you continue to faithfully and blindly apply it, fairness ceases to be a noble virtue. It becomes a self-inflicted weapon. This is the ultimate psychological trap. And good people fall headfirst into it because they choose blind loyalty over current data. They are loyal to a romanticized ideal, desperately believing that if they just keep soaking up damage while holding up their end of the bargain, the other side will suddenly experience a moral awakening and return to the path of integrity. Manipulative operators thoroughly understand this vulnerability. Stop waiting for the game of life to suddenly become ethical. Start mastering the exact game that is playing out right in front of your eyes. 6. Silence is the ultimate speed bump. Throughout his life, Machiavelli watched the fires of impatience incinerate empires, careers, and positions that should have been completely unshakable. He watched highly intelligent agents completely surrender their negotiating leverage, simply because they lacked the psychological stamina to sit inside a heavy, prolonged silence without panicking. He watched leaders make catastrophic commitments under a manufactured sense of urgency that they would have completely rejected if they had just taken an hour of stillness. He watched brilliant minds lay out every single card they were holding, not because they were forced to by evidence, but because the internal pressure of waiting became more painful than the catastrophic cost of oversharing. And the operators sitting across the table from them, they didn't use sophisticated interrogation techniques. They simply sat there, maintained eye contact, said absolutely nothing, and collected the massive harvest of data that the victim's anxiety naturally produced. Silence is a nuclear option on the chessboard of human interaction, yet the masses refuse to touch it. Not because it is inaccessible, but because sitting inside unresolved social tension without rushing to fix it requires a highly trained psychological muscle, an elite tolerance for emotional discomfort. Drop this in the comments. I control the pace. 7. Accumulate absolute sovereign value. Machiavelli never promised his readers a life of pleasant harmony. He promised them something infinitely more durable: immaculate position. The specific type of strategic positioning that does not buckle when an external force applies pressure. The kind of position that requires zero active defense because the calculated cost of launching an assault against it is already known across the entire ecosystem to be devastatingly high. Accept this cold reality: respect is never granted as an act of charity. The world will never hand you an unshakable position because you believe you deserve it, or because your heart is pure, or because your character is flawless. It is earned through the unwavering, consistent demonstration that crossing your boundary carries a guaranteed, highly reliable price tag. This is the core essence of what Machiavelli meant when he treated power as an environmental landscape rather than a temporary performance. Authentic power never feels the need to announce itself with a megaphone. Authentic power quietly shapes the ground rules of every single interaction, long before the parties ever enter the room. Remember, you never build authentic leverage by adding noise. You build absolute power by removing your predictability. Like this briefing immediately, so it circulates to the rare minds who require strategic awareness, not just emotional motivation. Share it with a virtuous individual who keeps getting exploited because they refuse to see the game. And subscribe immediately, because our upcoming briefings will descend even deeper into the dark mechanics of advanced psychological influence, statecraft, and the clinical sharpness required to alter real-world outcomes in absolute silence. Tell me in the comments section which of these 7 laws hit your current reality the hardest. Stay observant, stay calculated, and never play a game you do not fully understand.